Hey everyone, the embargo is lifted. Spore has hit stores in Australia. Europe will get theirs tomorrow, and it hits stores here in the States on Sunday. And joining me today to talk about Spore and give us the first look is Jeff Green. He is the editor-in-chief for PC Games for the 1UP Network.
Yep.
Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, from the mind of Will Wright, we have Spore. What is it, and what genre would you place it in? Is it an RPG, a real-time strategy, turn-based? Can you even categorize it?
Yeah, I don't think you want to bother trying to categorize it, or you're just going to get in a lot of trouble there, because it really is kind of a mold-breaking game. It's just a Will Wright game. If you've played SimCity or The Sims, you know that when he comes out with something, it's basically just its own beast. That's what this is.
Yeah. So where does it go? I mean, we're looking at a clip here, which is the primordial ooze, I'd like to call it.
Right.
Now, do you have to start here when you're first starting out, or
the very first time you play the game? Yes. The game is in 5 stages. There's this primordial stage, then there's a creature phase, then tribal, then civilization, and space. The uber theme of this game is that you start as a one-celled creature. You customize that creature from the very beginning as a carnivore or herbivore, and you make your way all the way up to the space age. So it takes place over stages. The first time you play it, you do need to play each stage a little bit to unlock the next stage. Once you've unlocked it once, you're good to go for any time on after that.
Then what was the reason behind the creature creator that they came out with a couple months ago?
Right. Well, the reason for that is because really the big deal about this game, more than the fact that it's just a game where you're taking a creature from one cell into space, is the fact that your game, which is a single-player game, you're not playing this with other folks online, it's completely single-player, but the creatures that populate the universe that you're playing in are made by all the other people playing the game. You're not playing it online, but you're hooked in online while you're playing it. And as you're making stuff, it's being streamed into other people's local games. So it's kind of a revolutionary technology that they're doing in that way.
So it's based on your computer, but yet you're pinging servers where everybody else is streaming their stuff to, and then it hits back to yours. And
yes, and of course, if you aren't comfortable with that idea, you can opt out of it. They have they have what's called the Sporepedia, which is basically kind of like something between Facebook and AIM, where where you can accept friends. You can actually subscribe to people's content. So if I find out that Scott makes great spacecraft, I can just subscribe to your spacecraft. So every time you make one, it gets automatically downloaded into my game. Conversely, if you're making whatever things that I object to, or for whatever reason, I could ban you, or I could just ban everybody if I'm not comfortable.
Now, you've been playing the game for a little while now.
Yep.
So what was your initial reaction to it, and has it changed as you've been going along?
Yeah, I would say it's changed a bit. My initial reaction is that I was blown away, and I think that that's going to be most people's initial reaction. The creature creator itself is just a stunning achievement. I think for that part of the game alone, it's going to get high ratings, and I think it's going to turn on a lot of people. Once you get out of this one cell stage and you literally leave the water and go up onto land, that's when the creation tools open up to you, and you can start adding hands and feet and heads, and you can really get your creativity going. And that part of the game is so fun that it sort of carries you through the next part of the games, the tribal stage and the civ stage. And it's only after playing the game now for a good 20, 30 hours that those parts, the seams start to show a little more. At least for me, they have. And that's been a concern of those of us who have followed the game all along for 4 years now, is how are they going to make it a consistent experience all the way through? How is it going to be that this guy I create in the creature stage is still going to be something I'm going to be emotionally invested in later on? And it is, I think, it's not quite perfect in that way.
Now, have you had a chance to look at, or at least talk to people about the DS and the mobile phone versions of it?
I've seen the DS version. The thing to know first is that they're separate games. They're not. This is not Spore reduced down to the DS or the mobile phone. They took a little piece of Spore. It would have been idiotic to try to do a full Spore game. So the DS game is really just the creature game, and it's quite cute, and it really does sort of capture that basic idea of the creature game in its own little experience. And they also did translate the notion of sharing content. So you know, you can share the creatures you make on your DS with other folks using the Wi-Fi, or actually going up through Nintendo's website.
Now, it sounds like sim fans, I mean, Wright fans in general, are going to go out and get this. What would you say to those who are kind of on the fence with it? They're looking at it going, hey, it's really cute, it's cartoony, but you know, how's it going to appeal to me? Well,
I think, you know, simply as a kind of a breakthrough in terms of this ability to pollinate other people's content, if you're at all curious on that level of what this game is doing, I think you should get it. And certainly if you are like a creator type, if you like making stuff, you know, you're not just designing a creature. At every stage, you're designing something else. So you'll get to design cars, you know, and boats and planes. And you know, the creation tools are stunning. I mean, you can really let your imagination go wild there. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you know, I think it's going to be fine. If what you're looking for is, say, a hardcore strategy game, you're a PC gaming guy and you're looking for a Civ type game, this is not that game. It's easy. They made it easy for a mainstream audience, and I've seen complaints like that from guys already saying, well, I've played it for 7 hours and I've already made it to space. Well, that was their goal. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted everybody to just have a fun time. It's like a toy more than a hardcore game.
Now, speaking of complaints, what were some of the things that you ran into that really didn't work for you?
Well, I alluded to it earlier that the seams kind of show when you go from one stage to another.
Are they that drastic? It's just like, okay, suddenly you're in the water, you're this celled creature, and all of a sudden you have legs.
It's kind of like that. I mean, you need to manually do it. It'll say you're ready to evolve. You know, press the button here when you're ready. So you can stay where you are if you want to. There's not a whole lot of reason to do it. And then when you level up, you may find that things aren't entirely exactly as you expected. I'll give you one example. One of the creatures I created they were herbivores. And because they were herbivores and I wasn't going to be able to attack other creatures to eat them, my strategy in sort of conquering the territory was to befriend everybody. You basically have you know, it's a choice. It's a one or the other. You can make friends with everybody or you can kill them all. So I made friends with everybody. Then when I did all that, when I basically conquered the tribal game by befriending the world, I leveled up into the civilization stage. And I discovered when I got there that because I had done that, now my civilization, our whole civilization was based on religion. And the way I had to beat the civilization stage to get into space was to basically convert everybody to my religion. Well, it was fine and it was fun, but that's not really what I wanted to do. And the game had locked me into this path that I wasn't aware of. So, and the reason that they did that is I think because they needed to keep the rule set simple. This equals this equals this.
I was going to say that, you know, you know, with some of the games in the past where you actually have the moral choice.
Right.
You know, you pick a path, and you know, it sounds like Spore is making you stay on that path.
It's kind of making you stay. It's sort of saying, you know, herbivore equals friendly equals religion equals this. You know, which is fine. It was still fun, but again, if you were looking for a hardcore strategy game where decision making was really key, this kind of isn't that game.
Now, and you probably already answered this, but the wider audience, and it sounds like that's really where they're trying to go. Yes. They're trying to hit kind of like the Wii casual gamer.
To some extent, yeah.
Is that? Do you see this happening?
That I do see. I do see that because again, the creator stuff is so fantastic. It's so well implemented, and they have some brilliant touches in there, like when you're on the creation screen making your guy. With one button click, it instantly will create a video that gets posted to YouTube. They built a YouTube thing right into this thing. They were so smart that way. So just going to buy this game and making some goofy looking creature and then sharing it with your friends online, they built it into the game. I think that's where you're going to get a ton of casual people just having fun in that way. So yes, I do think casual folks are going to be all over this game. Yeah. And
would this be one you would have, even without, you know, having that special media card and getting it for free?
Yeah.
Would you have gone out and picked this one up?
Yeah, I would have. And having played it now for all these many hours, I'm still going to play it. In fact, I'm excited about it going live because that means that everybody else, other than media people and
Whoa. Okay. Okay, out, out, out. Shut it down, shut it down. Wow.